What's going on? It is a beautiful Thursday afternoon. Today I wanted to do a 1500 mile review on my 2019 Yamaha R3. As you can see, it currently has 1,514 miles on it, but just kind of wanted to talk about how it's been as a bike, as far as a beginner bike, and my plans with it. As far as it being a good beginner bike, it's been an outstanding bike. It felt like a lot of power when I first started riding. I started riding maybe 4-ish months ago, and it felt pretty powerful considering it's a 300. But a big reason why people would say to not get a 300 as a beginner bike is because you outgrow them really fast. And I come to realize how true that is. It's not enough power. There comes a time when 50-40 horsepower just isn't enough. It got to that point about 3 months into owning it. I feel like I'm ready for an upgrade. If I'm being honest, I would say it's better to start on a 650. I mean, it just depends on your size, you know. I'm 6 foot, 205-ish pounds. This is not a lot of bike for me. My R1 at home, riding that, it felt more like home. Obviously that's a leader bike, that's a whole different ballpark, but it felt more at home for me as far as how big it is, not necessarily the power, but the ergonomics. The R3, you're in a really upward position, whereas the R1, you're really like leaned over, and you start to feel it after a while of riding it. It's a track-oriented bike. The only time the R1's necessarily comfortable is when you're fast. I noticed the R1 was comfortable at right around 70-80 miles an hour, whereas this, I've taken it on the highway a few times and you're screaming at 70 miles an hour. This thing revs up to 12.5. I was sitting at about 8.5 at 70, so you're gonna be screaming on the highway, which is another reason why I would say you'd want a 650 instead. It's just better for the engine. You're not gonna be almost topped out at RPMs on the highway. This is a very forgiving bike. The R1 is a lot less forgiving than something like a little 300 like this. I first got this bike at 250 miles. It's a 2019. Guy bought it brand new, and I guess it was just sitting the entire time he owned it. Bought it for his daughter, who wanted to learn to ride, but decided that she wasn't going to learn to ride after she dropped it in the garage and just decided she was done. So it has been dropped. I actually low-sided on this thing. I was in my neighborhood. I just finished washing it. Skirt. I was washing the bike and I didn't let the tires dry. Low-sided in a corner. Luckily it was very low speed. It wasn't really anything major, but I have a few scrapes and melted plastic on the side, so that's unfortunate. But other than that, it's a great bike. I've done some pretty hard pulls on this bike. I've definitely taken it up to redline a few times. You can tell that it was made as a low cc super sport. It's very comfortable at higher RPMs. I will say it rides a little better at lower speed just because of how light and just the way it's made. It's a lot better of a street bike than something like the R1. The R1 wants to go fast. The R1 needs to be at high speeds, you know? It doesn't want to go slow. Whereas this, it's a perfectly fine street bike. I mean, like I've said, I've experienced no issues with this thing. In my opinion, it's a flawless beginner bike. Now, like I said, if you're a bigger person like me, you're probably gonna outgrow it. So I personally would look into something like a Ninja 650 or a Z650 or even the Suzuki SV650s. Those are great bikes. If you want something a little bit fancier, you could go with something like Aprilia, the RS660 or the Tuono 660. Great options. The R3 has definitely held its quality throughout the miles. Obviously 1,500 miles is not a lot of miles. It's been a good little ripper. I definitely would like to upgrade. I was not in neutral. I was in first and I stalled. No one saw that. Like I said, it's a great option. It's nothing much, but I still do get a lot of compliments on this thing. I've taken it to school and I get compliments almost every day from it. As far as maintenance goes, I've really only done, I don't know, 3 oil changes. The first one, we changed the oil since it was sitting, so it just needed new fluids. My most recent oil change I actually did yesterday, and it's very easy. I haven't done one yet on the R1, so I couldn't tell you what that's like. I've heard that it's very, very similar. It's very good with gas mileage. It'll get about 35 miles to the gallon, I believe, on paper at least. It costs about $14–15 for a full tank. At least here in Arizona, gas isn't nearly as expensive here as it is in some other states like California. It's a very fuel efficient bike. I mean, for as young as I am, super sports tend to cost a lot for insurance. I'm not too sure what the numbers are, but it's right around 110 maybe per month, which is still expensive for insurance, but considering that this bike is considered a super sport in its class, really isn't bad. The new Kawasaki ZX4 might be a different story, since insurance is going to look at ZX4 RR and they're going to see the double R. They're probably going to charge more. And looking at the numbers of the ZX4, it's not really a beginner bike. I mean, 70 horsepower, a beginner could definitely start on it. I mean, it's not much different from a Ninja 650, so it's definitely possible. It wouldn't necessarily be a bad decision to start on a ZX4. I would definitely like to take this bike through some twisties and really see how it handles. It does, however, need new tires. Oh shoot, there's a parking lot. I don't want to be here. It's definitely pretty torquey in first gear, like, and that's definitely one thing I don't like about this bike, is first gear is super short. I haven't taken it to redline in first. I would say it would redline at about 25 miles per hour. I could give you guys a good launch if you want. I'll do a quick 0 to 50. There's your 0 to 50, so it's pretty quick. I mean, considering that I wasn't completely revving it out, it's pretty quick. I mean, especially for only being a little 300, it's got some go to it. It's not anything crazy. I mean, you should truly respect all bikes. You can get hurt or killed on any motorcycle. I mean, even my little Grom at home, you could definitely kill yourself on one of those. Like I said, it's a great beginner bike. I've had no issues with it. Maintenance is very simple. I would say give it an oil change after your 600 mile break-in period, and then after that you're good to give it a change every 2,000 miles. Oh, what happened over here? Got the ambience and everything. What happened? Oh, that's hope they're okay. That was nasty. Yeah, I hope they're okay. That sucks. Definitely a great bike. I personally would give it about 8 out of 10 if you were starting out. It's a great street bike, great beginner bike. It's cheap, or I should say affordable. It's affordable. I'm confident in saying we should definitely start on an R3. Also, sorry I didn't upload for a few weeks. I got some content last weekend. I had about 2 hours of video footage and it came back with no audio, so that sucks. And one more thing, thank you all for your love and support. It means a lot. You guys have absolutely blown up TikTok. It's not even funny. I mean, we're approaching 5,000 followers on TikTok. That's just crazy. Oh, there's a tire. Move it out of the way. There we go. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you didn't enjoy the video, don't leave a like. And if you can subscribe, that'd be great, because it means a lot and it helps out a lot. I really enjoy making this content. All my links to my social media are down in the description. And with that being said, I'm out. Peace.